Hi guys, welcome to When Trini's Fat Book Club. My name is Paulie Peabody and I'm with
Kuyo.
and thanks for joining us. We are going to do our reviews on some books. I would be looking at Celeste Ng's Little Fires Everywhere.
And I'll be looking at Franz Kafka in the Penal Colony.
So we're going to start off with Creo's choice. It's quite interesting. It's not actually a book in that way. Tell me, right?
Yeah, it isn't a book, it was a short story almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which goes into the mind of the person about to deal with. Personal before I discuss any essay or book or whatever literature we decided to explain, I prefer to start with the person, the era that came from, and the personality. And
Cool.
Franz Kafka was extreme introvert.
Really?
Yeah, it was into himself and found it. He was sociable, but because of the relationship with his father,
Yeah.
who used to abuse him, it affected him negatively.
What kind of abuse used to suffer so?
Physical and also verbal. But I think the verbal was worse to him.
Really?
Yeah.
So he used to get like what? Just regular licks or licks
So
for no
no,
reason kind of
okay.
thing?
If father leave him out to the cool and thing, at time when he wanted to get up and pee or something like that. Something like that, yeah. Next time too, he'd tell him harsh things and tell him to be quiet now. So you'd be silent all the time as a form of obedience.
Yeah.
So you had to understand his mind.
Yeah.
So his mind was very dark growing up.
So his introversion was because of how he felt used to treat him,
He-
or
Well, yeah.
probably
I
so.
believe that sharpened it a bit, but it affected his writing because it allowed him to become more, as you would see, he'd put all his feelings out in his work now.
Right.
But anyways, this taking place. He was born early in the late 1800s.
Oh, it's old.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was born in Prague and in Czech Republic.
Okay.
So it's not really like a local place, and yeah, that's, and the time was very different.
Right.
However, in this the name of it, the essay or short story is in the penal colony, and I decided to choose to speak on this because it seems very necessary in the time, all it was different times,
Right.
in Trinidad and Tobago. I think we could still find some comparison or emotional connection to his writing.
Okay.
To this.
So
Well, first off, you have to understand the entire setting is taking place on an island in tropics.
right.
They didn't say where exactly and that kind of thing, but and there's almost like a prison where there is the only most character is the commandant, who is like a commissioner,
Right.
who the old commandant and the new one, right?
So nobody had no actual names.
Nah, they don't have actual names.
Just position.
Yeah, and you have the officer who is the one in charge of the penal colony or the execution, because it was going to execute a prisoner.
Right.
And there was the soldier who directly was in charge of the prisoner and the actual condemned person.
Yeah.
So in all, it was like 1, 2, 3, like 5
So
persons
just 5 characters in
and
this
a
whole
traveler, someone who was brought in just to observe the whole scene.
Okay.
Right. So
how much prisoners actually
one.
have? It's just one.
One
Okay.
prisoner.
Okay.
And and I will try. I wouldn't go in too much detail into everything because I want to maintain a level of understanding for the listeners.
And for people who may
yeah,
want
who,
to read
who
it, who
may,
never
yeah,
read it before.
yeah, just to get enough.
I can respect that.
Yeah. So the main part of the writing is what am I say a machine.
Okay.
Called the inscriber. It had 3 little compartments, and the condemned person, the prisoner, he was to go on and lay on the on a silk kind of cotton spread. There above him there's a inscriber, which is like long and short,
Right.
needles almost going into your back now, and The person who is condemned was one of the rules of the penal colony is that if you do you can't know what you was charged for. Like if they charge you for something to be condemned to be executed, they can't know exactly what you're charged for.
So you just stay on this weird island
Yeah.
and you know you do wrong,
Nah, it was not given the.
or you're not given a fair
no,
trial.
yeah, exactly. The officer was the person who in charge. Was the
Right.
one, and that is how the prisoner came to be. He was actually a soldier, and at that point in time, you're supposed to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and salute the officer in charge, and he was sleeping because the officer came out earlier now. And what you
Right.
find happening is that he called the officer and tell him he condemned now because he find the officer at the time should have begged for his life now. And he didn't beg.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
So as a form of arrogance, he said, all right, cool, and he just called the officer, and the rules is once you have been found guilty or in some error, you will be condemned now without trial. And the inscriber now is to state exactly what your crime was on your back. So even while you're being murdered, you still don't know exactly
what you do wrong.
Yeah, even though the answer will be on your back now.
So then I do have a general like you don't have no set rules for the prisoners to know, well, okay, this is probably some possible things I probably did wrong.
Nah, you have no way to fight that or to give a rebuttal. And that is what the traveler who is independent from this entire happenings,
Situation, right.
he is come to observe now. And so yeah, he asks us that same question, like, yo,
Okay.
why how could you just the man even get opportunity to know where you do wrong and how you could just convict the man now?
Yeah.
And the person, the officer, in the book they gave great detail in how they end up let me say describing the actual machine. You understand? They went in great. You had to read the book to get the full understanding because it's something what your mind could conjure for its own self. And so I don't want to rob you of a direct image to look at when you refer to it now. So Bam now he end up the condemned person now. They put him on the inscriber, on the bed, on the inscriber.
Right.
And here how this inscriber does work. It is turn you, it is be start giving us very small penetrations, the long and short,
Right.
and they go in a circle almost like in a rotisserie style.
Okay.
And at first it doesn't feel anything, and then gradually it'll start to pain.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be dead. Yeah, it's supposed to be dead in 12 hours. But by the sixth hour, you will be alive, but you will be so drained from crying and screaming that they put a little something for you to sap on that's to keep you alive now.
So it's to almost keep the torture going then,
Yeah,
just to keep you alive enough.
But here's the trick.
Yeah.
The torture is that when they offer you the food,
Yeah.
you'll be too weak to actually eat it now.
Okay.
So the most you could do is actually only taste it at the mouth, and it will drop out your mouth. It won't have the energy to masticate. Nah, you understand?
Yeah.
So that is how. You understand? It's a horror, but I give you that is why I give you Franz Kafka mind or his psyche before I go into the book now, because all his books is and all his books are a conversation almost or a effect from his father now. Because in actuality, in real life, he wrote a very potent letter to his father stating what he was going on. He hit me real bad for all the things he actually said to me, and it affected me heavily now.
Yeah.
And he was very honest in it, and but he was so frightened and so scared and so didn't have any bravery that he ended up he couldn't give his father.
He wrote this letter as an adult?
Yeah, as a grown man. So he by the way, he was also a lawyer but he ended up working for an insurance company because in the 1900s,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of industry going on, and therefore a lot of workers who wanted insurance.
Okay.
So at that point in time, it'd be more profitable or to get a stable job as an insurance worker,
Right.
salesman. So yeah, he was so scared he couldn't even give his father to read it. So he gave his mother.
It's horrible. The effect your father
Yeah,
had on him
exactly.
all these years as a grown man.
Yeah, so he gave his father his mother the letter, and she was like, you know what? Because his father was a middle class businessman.
Yeah.
So she gave him back the letter and say, you know what, your father busy. He handling the scene. Though stress him about that, and he never gave it to him. So he died with that letter without forgiving the father. Now.
Yeah.
But
Wait, his dad died before.
No, him.
He died
he
before
died.
his father.
Yes, he died. Yeah.
I feel this, but because of all that stress.
Yeah, but anyways, coming back to the story now, that I just step out of the story just to give you his psyche further,
Yeah.
how fragile he is, and the idea of not knowing how important that would, or because he was a well-known writer because he actually poured the actual feelings out because he never really spoke of them. His work is actual.
It's in his writing.
Yeah, it have other works he did, the Metamorphosis, where he broke into a bog now. The that he ended up turning into a bog now. I started reading, I haven't completed it. Hopefully, I will be able to go through that one. But in this book also, you find that the inscriber, I mean the traveler, asking questions now. So you're asking questions like, who allowing this now?
Yeah.
Who allowing all of this? And he said, have the old commandant who set rules in place so that even if he'd pass, a new person would take a long time for him to actually be able to change the rules now.
Right.
If he was so to do that. So therefore he had a control even in his past now, because he had passed. So in that way the machine and the commandant have a presence, an indirect presence almost in the and act as active characters because of the influence now.
Right.
Even though they're not actually animating or actually alive now.
Okay.
You understand? So all this is part of the psyche now, and it bears to Trinidad in the sense how the underprivileged or people are taken advantage of now because they don't have any knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you find that the soldier who was once part of the system was easily abolished without
any
fair trial now. And that happened to a lot of us who subscribe to a party or political affiliation, and you find that you're not getting enough knowledge, but to make your own decisions for yourself, and you keep being thrown in the cycle of, okay, maybe this one will do better, and that kind of vibes.
Yeah.
But and also too, you have to understand too, like almost like the long and short needles that were purging the pushing back, that almost like time now.
Like the hands of a clock.
Yeah, no, not the hands of a the hands of a clock. The long and short.
The long and shorts, yeah.
To represent how painful time is to the underprivileged and the prisoners and the workers, the officers who are involved in this process, how they are pitted to get each other.
System is here a little bit.
Probably.
From what I heard from some people.
Probably, but I can't verify. I can't.
No, but I just talking about some things I
probably, yeah. So it's a very interesting book. It goes in deep into the darkness of not knowing and uncertainty, and it's a system in place that is designed to crush you. And and it's not even that. The system knows the pain so well. They know the effect so well that they could give you, the exact time just to give you enough.
Right.
To make you believe that you have hope or you have a actual
chance to get out of the situation.
Yeah. So there's the last part I would leave with you all is this.
Mm-hmm.
The officer who was very fervently advocating the continued use of the machine inscriber
Yeah.
on the condemned, even though the new commissioner there was who kind of was like he wanted to break away from that now.
Yeah.
But the officer esteem was in people knowing that his job is to do this crime now.
Yeah.
Not a crime, but execute this level of
Mm-hmm.
power or authority now.
Yeah.
Because people used to come around and watch now.
Right.
You know, so as a result you find he highlighted a system in place, a pain and the lack of knowing and how that affects the humans and human psyche now, and the nature of man. And I think even though that was written so long ago
It's still
in Europe,
applicable.
I think that's just because I mean ultimately we
No,
employ European philosophies
Mm-hmm.
that we are.
But just by you describing that book, I could see how applicable it is.
Yeah. So
Yeah, for real.
that is, I mean, there and one a lot of trade. One thing I need to know as well before I end is that one of his trademark is that a lot of his work is incomplete
Oh.
because he was so painfully unsure or shy that he much times didn't complete his work. As a matter of fact, on his deathbed, he wanted his best friend, I think was Max Brod, who also a writer.
Mm-hmm.
He told him to destroy all his works now.
Yeah.
Because he didn't believe that was worthy or something like that. And Max Brod ended up publishing it. He went against his money, and that's how we have this beautiful work today. And he's
it's a good thing that happened then.
Yeah, but I was going to show you the psyche of him now. How his life actually was his work, and how he hid himself in his work now.
All due to your father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And him to me, which is in one of the major theme I would like to believe is that fatherhood, because remember, we as a nation, we call certain people our fathers, and we have to fully understand what that would mean and the effects and how we bear the effects of our forefathers' triumphs and
how we
triumphs
could achieve
and
certain things in the future.
yeah, but hopefully that does leave you with a little taste in your mouth for it or not. If and maybe if you had read it before, you could leave it in the comments on what you thought of my review on it. If you have read it before, and will you decide to read it?
I definitely would read it.
All right, cool. I want to read it over again, actually.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. So, but what was the name of your book?
Well, I decided to read something a bit more on the fictional side. Well,
it was fictional.
I know yours was fictional.
It's more satire.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a much more recent piece, I should say, is considered adult fiction.
Mm-hmm.
It's by Celeste Ng, Little Fires Everywhere. This is actually her second book.
Mm-hmm.
And it was released in 2017, and I know I late, but it had a lot of hype behind the book now. So
anyway, it is not in my universe, I guess.
It had a lot of hype behind the book. Right. It still does, you know. So I decided to read it myself and see where it could go. Anyways, so after this book, I would personally change the title to A Little Disappointments Everywhere. Yeah. Boy, did I waste my time. I don't mean to sound bad.
Well, let me hear as to why. Hold on before. If you mind telling me where she was from.
Well, she was from Ohio. Well, she's Asian American, and she was from Shaker Heights, Ohio. That is where the book is actually
from. Centered.
That's where the story is centered in the book. So
in her actual hometown.
In her actual hometown,
right,
yes,
cool.
Correct. So this book, the story is about a Richardson family, and I know when I go on, people see how corny it is. It's an upper middle class family that lives in Shaker Heights, Ohio. Is the Shake, which is the kind of like a stush area, and in reality is America's first ever planned communities. So when it gets into the book, it just feels like the Mrs. Richardson feels like this is a very important um
Uh-huh.
towner to have that aspect in the towner, you
All right,
know?
cool.
Yeah. So to her, having a planned community is perfect. Um, and great communities come about ever so often, but once it's planned, it's much perfect. So you get that feel in the book, and it's also mentioned in the book as well. Now the time frame the book takes place in is in the mid 90s, and so the book really centers around Shaker Heights and how it is affected after Warren and after Mia Warren and she daughter Pearl move into the apartment owned now by the Richardson's family. So Mia is a kind of free spirited person and a talented photographer. Uh, Now I have to admit to you, Grill, that the descriptive writing in the book was well done at the end of the day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the descriptive writing was good. When you read it, it had moments while I was reading the book, I felt like I was in Shaker Heights, and you could get a full sense of the environment and the community and what the people are about and what you expect from people like that is a real upscale area, and it gets in that kind of feel, and right off the bat you understand that this is what the book is about, right? So the story is actually told through an unbiased perspective, person point of view. So,
why is it unbiased though?
Well, because it's through a third person's view, and you don't feel like the story is leaning towards any one person. So no one character dominating the story because of how it's told.
Yeah, but that doesn't just mean ultimate truth, or that doesn't mean truth as is the actual reality. Is this a different perspective?
No, exactly. And that is what she wanted. But when you're going for that perspective, then this is where she kind of falls flat for me. Like when the story is being told, the writer seems to want to highlight each character, and that is what's important. But the thing is, the characters and them are bland. There's no real depth to none of the characters.
Is there a reason that because hold on, in Franz Kafka one, you find that he purposefully didn't highlight any names really not.
I didn't see the point in it. If there was a point, I missed it, honestly. But the effect that it's supposed to have, being told in this perspective, it's supposed to draw out a certain level of mystery within each character.
Supposed to?
When I go on, you'll understand why.
Okay.
Right? So, anyways, like I was saying, the characters didn't really get enough of a chance to develop for me because of the way she then has a tendency to do her flashbacks in the book. Yeah, she have a tendency to do her flashbacks that are kind of sudden, and it's strange, and then it's so long, and it feels long because the book is only like about 350-page read. So when you're taking all of those steps and the characters still have no depth to them, and especially the Richardson family, they don't have any, they all seem the same. And there's 4 children. Is Mr. Richardson, Izzy, Trip, Moody, Lexi, then you have Mia Warren, then Pearl Warren, which is her Mia's daughter. So and then you have another side family that have an issue going on, which is the McCollins. I know. And they all are very bland. There's no real depth to these characters.
What is there a purpose in that was saying?
To me, there is no purpose in that. There is none. The book desperately needed some kind of, we needed more in these characters, especially in the way you're telling the story. Because you're telling the story on a third person's perspective, and if this third person's perspective is supposed to be seen and describing the situations and these people, then you should have a nice grasp or view of each person, and you're not getting that. You know what I mean?
Maybe because
So
the psyche of the person who writing it is purposely trying to be fucking, trying to
nah,
create.
no,
No?
no. Because if that if it just falls flat way too much. All the characters were, like I was saying, they were a bit too bland, and because of that, they're not very memorable at all, like at all. And the whole when you're coming into the plot of the show, when Mrs. Richardson, and this is a bit of a spoiler for somebody, I'm very sorry for who didn't read it. If there's a point in time when Mrs. Richardson's friend, Dima Collins, tried to adopt a baby that they found in well, they were they want to adopt, and the fire services found this baby on their steps, and when they found the child, the actual mother of the child wants back the child, and the character Mia Warren, who came into their lives as one of the tenants in the rental home, she knows the actual mother who wants back the child, told her, and told the mother about it. So this kind of caused a big confusion in Shaker Heights, that situation right there, and it spun a whole web. And this whole aspect it seemed kind of forced. It seemed as if Chelsea was trying to find something. I'm talking about Chelsea, Celeste. It felt like Celeste then was trying to find something to put in the book for the sake of interest, and it didn't work.
But as far as I know, why was it's always been mentioned. Whenever I do hear, I don't know. I could be wrong. Kind of like a boring, very white. That's it. That same kind of things, and it's saying the character, the writer actually came from
Yeah,
so
she
she probably
did.
just recapturing some a core that would
Well,
suit a
and
demographic that.
I'm glad that you brought that up because she made it very clear that she grew up in this town and she set it in the mid 90s because it took her back to her teenage years growing up in Shaker Heights and wanting to really tell the story of how strict this area is and how planned and scheduled everything is in that area now to make it this perfect developed city, this perfect developed community, right? So again, it seemed pointless and weak and lazy to me because even if you came from that area and it's you're writing a book, and I have yet to see why you made it seem so bland because it had parts in the book where it takes it to certain highs and lows. So yes, I mentioned that her descriptive skills were really good and she painted a nice picture where the imagery was bright and you was able to envision situations and the area. But
all right, well maybe that is why the
but
purpose came in because
but no.
because that life would be kind of boring though. And if you actually captain it properly, as I say, and she has captained it properly.
Like I say, it's taking it to certain highs and lows, but like when I was talking about the imagery and so that's being portrayed and it was in terms of the describing the area and the situations and so. But then when you get to certain highs now you crash when you realize, okay, that's it. This is what this was. For example, right? Just one more spoiler. It have a situation where one of the Richardsons, that's a stupid corny name, one of the Richardsons went into an art gallery and they happened to see a photo of Mia Warren, who was holding a baby in her arms, I think. Yeah. And the picture, what was so captivating about the picture is that it was taken by a real famous photographer at that time. And I was like, hey, when they confront her about it, we see somebody that look like you. No, that's not me. That wasn't me. She denied. Mia denied that to the last. She denied. She says, now they probably make a mistake. When you do hear the cry, she went to art school Mia actually went to an art school, and this famous photographer took her picture. And they became really good friends. And yeah, no, they became really good friends. And wait, and the photographer died. Right?
Dawson's Creek kind of thing,
Dawson's Creek was amazing. Don't come on me with that. Don't start. Dawson's Creek was amazing. Anyways, it was good. It was damn good. Yeah, and she died, and that was it. So what was wrong? And my whole thing is, what was wrong with admitting? Because I was looking, if it had another backstory with she and this photographer or anything, it had none. It had none at all, and that is what was draining about it. It was unnecessary. It just felt like it tried to force a mystery by making these tiny little situations out of nothing. She could have just said, yeah, she was a photographer and she became a good friend of mine. She was a lecturer, I admired her. She passed away, she took my picture. That was that. And then leave it so. And it had no reason for her to act that way at all. I don't understand that at all. But anyways, so the book, it just it briefly also touched on the importance of motherhood and what makes a good mother, and touched on race a little bit by highlighting that Lexi, one of the oldest Richardsons, had a black boyfriend, and Lexi even mentions that she doesn't see race in clueless, typical white girl accent kind of vibes now. So honestly, overall, this book was simply boring. It tried to make a mystery and it was poorly done, in my opinion, in that way. And the writer seems like she could do so much better. Maybe she just need a break or something. I don't know. I guess that was the point of Shaker Heights, I guess, that they just make nothing out of something. And if that was the case, well, then she cheats. So yeah, so that was me there with my disappointing read. Whoever wants to try the hand at it, feel free.
I don't think I'm going to read that.
I'll go read it now.
No, that's cool.
I'm going to read yours.
Yeah, well, no, that's cool.
Anyways, thanks so much for listening to When Trinity's Fat Book Club. I hope that you enjoyed. Please follow us on YouTube and subscribe, and also follow us on our Instagram. And you can find us on Spotify, Castbox, Google Podcasts, and so much more that we will list below, right? So, real.
Yeah, readiness to the mind will exercise to the body, right?
Very good. Bye, guys.